Hey all, Shellback Bow here. Uh, Getting moved into the new house and taking a minute to make a video. I'm working on, well, I'm not working on at the moment, I'm moving house, but in the back of my head I'm mulling over ideas and letting it stew. And the Ignited Dice engine is that. It's an engine. It's the rule system. It's not directly tied to a setting. And so I realized that people like having a setting, even if it's. I personally don't like when the setting and the rule set are so integrated that you can't pull them apart and separate them. So, what I am. But having a setting like Greyhawk is for AD&D, where it's the generic setting or the home setting. It's the standard setting for that rule set, and so all others are alternatives or have optional rules where it would apply. I've been considering that, and I've got a system or a setting that I've been working on as well, and I don't really have a name for it yet. The stand-in name is Thulcandria, but that's just a name that I've had since forever, and it's described any campaign world where I just didn't care enough to put a its own specific name for it. And I was going to have it as the Holy Byzantine Empire, roughly 1600 AD type of thing, with a Europa map, and the backdrop was, but the Holy Byzantine Shogunate. Instead of the Mongol invasion of history, instead of Rome coming to power and being the dominant thing, it's based out of Constantinople, and it's the Japanese who invade, or the fantasy Japanese stand-in, and so you would have a mixture of Shinto and samurai and ninja shinobi, and the Japanese, a lot of the Japanese culture and influences in there. But you would also have the Eastern Catholic rites as a basis for the Western civilization. But I'm also gonna have like it's a Western marches style setting where it's actually taking place not in and around Constantinople or in the eastern Japanese islands, because I'm getting rid of everything in between the two basically, and instead it's going to be taking place in the French portion of Europe, on the other side of Italy, and the Italian peninsula is just like, it's there, but it's not a focus for the campaign. Instead you show up in, I think it's essentially where Marseille is, if I remember correctly. I don't have any of my notes. I'm in the middle of of moving. I don't have any. My computer's still at the old house. I've got one more week to get everything out of there, and the office was the last thing to get packed. And it's just me with a buddy's going to be showing up here in an hour, so he's gonna help me take down my desks and stuff. But yeah. But one of the things I wanted to do, or want to discuss, is classes for the campaign setting, because it's going to be a human-centric campaign setting. And so I'm already decided that I'm going to have paladins, I'm going to have samurai, I'm not going to have knights, I'm going to have samurai, I'm going to have ninja, I'm going to have uh, friars. I'm going to have Western priests and Eastern priests. So the Shinto style priests, and then the Western priest, which is going to be more of your standard cleric. And then the cleric is going to have a spell list depending on what saints they have devotions to. And they'll be able to add devotions, or they'll be add, as they gain levels, they'll be able to add additional saints that they are devoted to. And then I wanted to add your magic user, the basic magic user. But one thing that I want to do with my campaign setting is at the bottom of these dungeons, or not all dungeons, but some of them, there may be a supernatural creature lurking down there, and they can grant patron powers, and it'll change the character if they come across these creatures, and it'll act. It's in this. It's like a warlock class that I'm thinking of from 5e, but it's going to be something that you multi-class into. And yeah, I'm using the OSR multi-class, not the 3.5 multi-class or the WotC multi-class. So you would retroactively graft on an additional class, and as you gain experience points, you may lose hit points and gain powers and stuff, and that would be a warlock multi-class thing, and it may affect your power, because if you're a cleric or somebody who has a divine tie, then maybe you wouldn't be able to control that. And of course, still classes, looking at the Varangi Guard, which the Byzantine, the Holy Byzantine Shogunate would still have access to, because there would be a Nordic element of some sort, so there would be the Viking. And then I was thinking maybe there'd be a Holy Berserker class, I think I'd call them the Zealot. And so they would be something between a cleric and the 3.5 barbarian. I'm specifying 3.5, so it'd have a rage aspect, the rage powers from 3.5 to 5e, the WotC version. I don't know if there's a Berserker class in OSR that does the same thing. I'm not that fluent in OSR. And so, given all that information, what suggestions would you guys have for class ideas? And also, any other ideas, comment any ideas at all that you have on this. Definitely there's going to be spirit folk that are NPCs at the very least. That might be player races, so the Kitsune, the my mind's drawing blanks. I was going to make a video about something else. I have no idea what I was going to make a video of, because the heat's getting to me. It's 1 p.m. here on Saturday, and it's 94 degrees Fahrenheit here, and it's getting hot. I don't recommend moving in July in Japan. But yeah, any recommendation, any comments, any thoughts, considerations, anything you would like to see? Because I'm still very much in the very early construction phase of the setting. I've already decided that goblins are green-skinned demons, and you're gonna have I'm coming up with more Japanese themed monsters, especially if there's going to be an Eastern Marches campaign later on. The Western campaign, you're going to have the goblins, going to have the pig-faced orcs, going to have the kobolds, which are going to be 5-foot-tall dogmen. I'm going with more of the Appalachian dogmen style monster as an influence point for the kobolds. And then I don't know how or if I'm going to insert elves, dwarves, gnomes. I just haven't gotten that far in the thought process. They're there in the back of my mind, and I want to put them in because I like all those races, but I just don't know how they're gonna, I don't know how to fit them in yet. I'm still in the very beginning phase, so there's a lot of mushy oatmeal so far. I don't know. I'm going to have shrines, and one of the functions of the priest classes, and I'm going to do druids. I'm going to do druids and rangers, but the any of the religious classes, so your druids, your priests, clerics, friars, they're going to be able to build shrines or consecrate shrines and temples and altars, and those are going to help secure in the hex map grid. It's going to help protect them from the forces of chaos. Because one of the things that my goblins are based very much on Goblin Slayer. I don't want any other kind of goblin in my campaign setting. If there is a more humanoid and less demonoid goblin, it'll be something else. I don't know, like Bokurin or something, I don't know. Might take a look at Legend of Zelda for inspirations for a name. Yeah, let me know what you guys think and any comments, concerns that you have on that. And I'm always looking for more. What I need to do is I need to build a Discord server, and where people can put their ideas and thoughts on stuff, and what's that called? A cooperative building, world building. You guys know the word I'm looking for. Words. On the plus side, I've got a spot for some of my pipe tobacco. Yeah. That's some of it. This is Autumn Evening by Cornell and... what's that company? Cornell and Deal. And then this is my own personal blend that I put together. It's half Golden Cavendish, and it's got some Turkish and Perique and Dark Fired Kentucky and 3 or 4 other flavors in there as well. No Virginias and no Burley other than the Dark Fired Kentucky. So it's I like it, which is the whole point of making it. But I'll let you guys go. See you on the other side.